Welcome to my video on how I made my Skyrim inspired Pewter casting. This is going to be a 3-part video, so please bear with me and enjoy. My weapon of choice will be a spear, which I made out of a thin copper tubing that I bought online from a hobby shop, but any thin hard wire will do, like teak wire or galvanized steel wire or anything like that. After hammering the tip flat, I shaped the spear point using my Dremel with a grinding wheel bit. The wax I'm using comes from a cheese called Mini Baby Bell Regional. Now, I wouldn't advise you to buy the cheese just for the wax, but if you're a cheese lover like myself, this wax is an awesome medium. I don't really have a specific technique, but if you're working in layers, for example armor or clothing, my advice would be to make the person as skinny as possible. This way, if you were to add a lot of armor or clothing, you don't end up with an obese looking knight. For the cape and shield, I'm using 0.25mm shim stock. It's basically a very thin copper sheet. In fact, it's so thin you can actually use a pair of old scissors to cut it to size. For the base, I'm using a bathing candle. It's already the perfect size. It's around 1 inch in diameter and around about a centimeter in height. So it's a perfect stand for my knight. Next up it's time to prepare the mold itself. I start by creating a container wherein I'm going to pour the plaster. You can use any plastic container, just be sure to lubricate the container to prevent the plaster from actually sticking to it. I'm using an egg pan and some shim stock add left over for the walls of my container, but you can really use any plastic container. Here I'm dripping wax around the perimeter of the shim stock, just to seal it and to make sure that the plaster doesn't leak out of the container. Before I pour my plaster, I usually put the whole thing in the fridge. This will make the wax hard and much more resilient to the whole pouring process. I completely forgot one of the most important components of any lost wax casting, and that is the razor. Let me take a second to explain. Okay, so here's my casting. So when creating a casting, you need to think about how the metal is going to flow into your casting, because as the metal flows in, all the air in the cavity needs to be displaced, so it needs to go somewhere. And if it doesn't have anywhere else to go, it's going to rush past the pouring metal. And as the metal freezes, it's going to create porosity, and sometimes it won't flow everywhere. So to fix this, we create razors. A razor is basically just a channel through which the air can escape. So as you pour the metal in, all the trapped air flows out here, and the metal follows that path. That's why the metal and the air doesn't mix. Another point to consider is actually areas like this horn. The metal, or there will probably be a little bit of air trapped here and possibly there. So to fix this problem, we just create extra channels so the metal can flow freely. Here as well, we might consider connecting this to the razor. So as the metal flows in here, the air can escape. A simple example is, let's say I want to cast this hook. Here's my sprue, and I'm going to pour in my metal. This metal will flow in here, but will probably just flow up to here where we have two gas pockets. So you just create a raise on this side and a raise on that side, and the metal will flow in and the air will escape. Now with my casting, I completely forgot to create a razor. So what's going to happen is, as the metal flows in, the air is going to be trapped. Now to fix this problem, I'm going to create a small channel here through which the air can escape. But the problem with this is that the metal will also follow that path, and the metal will just drop down through the casting. Now to solve this, I'm going to try and place the ends just a millimeter above water. So as the metal hits the water, it will hopefully solidify and the whole thing will fill up with metal. This is not ideal because you can think that molten metal and water isn't always the best combination, but yeah, we'll see. Here you can see me executing my plan to save my casting. Hopefully it will work, hopefully it won't explode. So stay tuned for part 2 of my project. Thanks for watching.